Thanks for listening to the Discount Property Investor Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share, and subscribe to help us reach a wider audience. To jumpstart your real estate investing career, please visit freewholesalecourse.com, the most complete free course on wholesaling real estate ever. We would also appreciate it if you left us a review on iTunes or Stitcher. Thank you in advance for your support, and remember, you make your money when you buy, and you get paid when you sell. Now let's go build some wealth.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Discount Property Investor Podcast. This is your host, David Dodge, joined by my co-host, Mr. Michael Slane.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back.
Hey, guys, welcome back. So today, we are going to be talking about flipping land and vacant lots and also a lot of other really, really cool strategies. So we have a special guest on the episode today, introducing Mr. Jack Bosch. Hey, Jack, how are you, man?
I am doing fantastic. How about you guys? Yourself?
We're doing good, man. We're doing really good. So we just left a couple appointments this morning that Mike and I went around and looked at. And we made a couple offers already today. I think Mike actually made 28 offers today.
That's a lot.
Luckily, it was to one seller, but on 28 houses.
Yep.
So very cool.
Very nice.
We're having a great day. But Jack, we are happy to have you on the show today. We don't do a whole lot of what you do. So we are always looking to, learn new things, teach our audience and our viewers new things. So this is going to be a really, really great episode. We're really, really excited to start or to learn some of the things that you're doing. So to give our audience a quick intro of Jack. Jack's been investing in real estate, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Jack, since 2002 with his wife, Michelle, and they've been buying and selling lots and unimproved land. Right. Jack's flipped about 4,000 or probably more than 4,000 transactions at this point, which is just awesome. Holy cow. And Jack went from having a zero net worth to over $1 million, and he's well above that now, but it only took him 18 months. So Jack's going to tell us some really cool strategies about what he does in his real estate business. And he's also an author. Mike and I wrote a book, The Ultimate Guide to Wholesaling Real Estate. Jack has one called Forever Cash Life, and it's about financial literacy, which I absolutely love. So, Jack, enough of me babbling. I'm sure Mike's ready for me to shut the hell up too here.
Yeah, let's get to the
Let's get to the meat and potatoes. Let's get into meat and potatoes. So, Jack, tell us, what are you working on right now, and what kind of deals are you doing?
All right, so I'm working on the same thing I've been working on since I restarted this. We are land flippers. So what we do is we do basically what you guys do. It's not even that different, except that we don't deal with the houses because they add a complexity factor to it that we just plainly don't want to deal with. So now, nothing wrong with houses. We own a portfolio of houses. We own a portfolio of apartment complexes, but we make our money flipping land, similar to you guys flip houses. Just that there's no house on it. So basically, so with that comes a few distinct differences. And one of them is that land itself is something that if you just hold on to it, it costs you money.
Yeah, it's
versus
a liability.
Houses, hold on to it, you rent it, it makes you money.
Right.
So therefore, there's a lot of people in the land world that have held their properties for 10, 20, 30 years. They're getting older, their life changes, or they have inherited the properties. And all these properties do is sit there, consume property taxes, and if they're not already grown in value, they've perhaps just been stagnant in value or a little bit of value. The sellers, they don't really care for them, and they're willing, because they actually cost them money every year, they're willing to sell them at steep discounts. Literally, we buy properties for 5 to 25 cents on the dollar, and then we turn around and we sell them either at half price for wholesale, or what we do is we go sell these properties with a cash flow strategy, meaning we're selling them with seller financing, with owner carryback, right? We allow the people to take a property that, let's say, a $30,000 piece of land, it's like in the outskirts of town or a small infill lot or so, that we pick up for $4,000. because it's like 15 cents on a dollar. We go turn around, we sell it to somebody for $30,000. We're, let's say, a 20% down payment, a $6,000 down payment, and then $500 a month for the next 8 years or 10 years.
Wow.
So what that does is if we pay $4,000 for that, but we get $6,000 as a down payment, we rather get more than we paid for the property, and allows us to pay closing costs and still have some left over. And now we get $500 a month, which is about the same my rental properties make, just without any tenants, toilets, termites, trash, and all this kind of stuff.
Wow, that's awesome. So I'd imagine that this strategy only works when you're buying at a discount, right? Awesome. So
well,
Mike and I, we're the Discount Property Investors. We're on the Discount Property Investor podcast here. All things in real estate that Mike and I do, and it sounds like Jack here too, most real estate investors, it happened, it all starts when you buy. You have to buy your properties right. If you're not buying at a discount, you're probably not going to be able to make much money, if any, on it. So Mike and I love the saying, you make your money when you buy, you get paid when you sell, but the money's actually made when you buy it. So Jack, this is really, really cool. I love the fact
that I 100% agree with you.
Yeah, very cool. I love the
100%.
fact that you're flipping these properties, these pieces of land, but you had mentioned that you also have rentals, not both single families and some multifamily doors as well. So what's the strategy there? Why are you doing all these different things?
Right. So we actually, the book that I wrote, and I have a copy here, the book called Forever Cash. That book is actually not a book about our real estate method. It's a book about our financial philosophy. And in our financial philosophy, everything we ultimately do is designed to provide lifetime and generational cash flow. So really, in essence, we are cash flow investors, discount investors, but with a cash flow outlook. So when we buy, that's why we came up with a seller financing strategy on the land flipping, which provides cash flow. We built it up to over $70,000 a month in cash flow, pure profit coming into the bank account every month. Now, if you have that kind of money coming in, what do you do with it? Well, you can buy the Ferrari and you can buy all this kind of stuff, but that's not my style. What we started doing once we reached that point, we started buying other cash flow assets. So basically, in essence, we make our money land flipping, but we park our money and keep our money in cash flow real estate, improved cash flow real estate. So the reason we buy single families and the reason we buy apartment complexes is that's what we call our asset allocation strategy, right? Our making money strategy is land flipping. What to do with the money is we park it and we have it produce nice 10, 15, 20% a year returns in the single family and multifamily kind of area, which means that if we ever stop flipping land, which I can't see anytime soon, but if we ever stop flipping land, we then can put our feet up for the rest of our lives. Our daughter is financially taken care of. Her kids are financially taken care of because we're building an 8- and 9-figure cash flow empire funded by the land flipping here.
Wow. Yeah, wow is right, man. Wow is right. So
I like how you skipped over the 7-figure, 8 and 9.
Yeah,
man,
8 and 9. I know.
Those
so you're already doing, you're already bringing in over $50,000 a month. You had mentioned about $70,000 a month in cash flow passive income. Is that correct?
And that is from the land flipping side. Our house and other flipping, they're bringing in another nice 5 figures a month income too.
Wow, that is just phenomenal. That is phenomenal.
Yeah, really cool. So what do you want to talk about today, Jack? I'd like to learn more about the land flipping. I mean, kind of how you're doing that. I think that's
whatever you guys want to talk about. So the land flipping is really the source of this entire machine. I believe in order to be financially successful, there's 2 ways. One is like the Dave Ramsey way, and I love Dave Ramsey, but But if his intentions are really good, but I don't feel like becoming financially debt-free and independent by eating peanut butter and jelly every day.
Right.
Our strategy is an expansionary strategy. It's like, instead of save yourself to financial freedom, it's like freaking rock yourself. Build your best you. Live up to your potential. There's so much unfulfilled potential in this world. People that live way below what they could be living at, and that's what we're going for. So So Go, it's an expansionary strategy. It's something that you learn. And within that, it's a fairly simple strategy. Of course, there's work involved, but because there's no houses involved, and you guys have to look at the house, estimate repairs and things like that, just to know what to price it at, we don't have to do that, right? We have to do that. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just an extra step that you guys do that we don't have to do. And so you, as a result, when flipping land, you can do this completely remotely. You can do this. I mean, I haven't looked at a single piece of land for the last 12 years. Right?
Like in person, you mean?
Pardon?
You mean like in person?
Like in person, of course. We look at it through Google Maps, Google Earth, right? Google Street View. But it's land. I mean, what's the difference between the land last year and this year other than the trees have grown that much, right?
Right.
There's nothing you have to look at in person. We actually have a lot of our buyers that buy just based on looking at by Google Maps and Google Earth. So this entire system has become a virtual system. Our team doing this is completely virtual. We have VAs in the Philippines. We have somebody in Florida that helps us with the deals. We have somebody in Phoenix, but we only meet like once a month. So the entire team is completely virtual. And now we actually teach it too for the last 10 years, 11 years, how to do this. But it's very, in essence, what we're looking for, as you mentioned earlier, we're looking for properties that are like worth between $10,000 and $100,000. Those is our sweet spot. So you're not going after the multi-million-dollar downtown lot next to the ballpark, right? We're looking at the deal where you can put a skyscraper on there and it's like this convoluted, expensive process. That's not our game. We're doing wholesaling, flipping, and seller financing, very quick flips where our preferred holding time is 0, where we do assignments, where we do double closes, the same thing you guys do, just without the house on it. And because we're dealing with land, their discounts are steeper. Because as a matter of fact, we actually don't look for the motivated seller. We're looking for the non-wanter, which is a completely different level
Let's talk about that. We're going to break off on that topic just for a second if we can.
Go ahead.
So you said you're not looking for the motivated seller. So how do you find deals? Because Mike and I, when we're flipping houses, the motivated seller is obviously very important, but basically we can break the motivated seller down into 2 categories. Either they themselves are distressed or the property is distressed. And if you get both of those, then it's great in terms of us being able to get a deal. Right. But it sounds to me like you're not necessarily even looking for motivation necessarily. So do you mind elaborating a little bit on how you're seeking these people?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have found that our typical seller is someone in the 50s, 60s, 70s years old, or it's somebody that just inherited the property. In this case, they're usually also in the 40s, 50s or so. They are, if they inherited, they had the property usually anywhere between 1 and like 3 years, enough for them to feel the pain of paying the property taxes. If they held the property for long term, it's usually somebody that is actually not distressed and the property's not distressed. It's often somebody who is like in the situation of like, you know, I've been owning this thing for 30 years. I don't really want to have it anymore. They talk to the kids. The kids like, I don't want it either. And there's nothing wrong with the property. But they just don't want to have it. There's like, I don't want a piece of land. If you have a rental house, I'll take it, but I don't want a piece of land.
Right.
And so they're like, okay, whatever. They're just giving it up. So when I say I don't mean we're not looking for the motivated sellers, we're looking for the non-wanters, which is the people who are basically mentally have closed up and closed shop and they have this garage sale mentality.
Got it.
The garage sale mentality is...
How do you locate those people though?
Yes, so and how we locate them? Yes. How we locate them? We locate them using direct mail. So we get a list from a list service or from the county. Like once you honed in on a county, we often get the county database, the entire assessment roll or the entire vacant land list. And then we identify the properties in a certain price range. If we want to, we can go after a certain size, right? We can go after certain, if the county records tell you how long they've owned it, we can use that as a characteristic. But at the bare minimum, it's properties that are worth between about $10,000 and $100,000. And then we go after out-of-state owners first, then in-state owners, and then we kind of go closer. And what we find is that price point, there is a substantial amount of people that have owned the properties for a bunch of time that just don't want it anymore. So as a result, when we send out direct mail, now hold yourself, we're getting response rates of anywhere between 5 and 15 to sometimes even 20%. So this is like in the house world unheard of.
Paying ARV that amount like, on the dollar. Got it. Okay. Makes sense.
So you get basically, let's say you get a 10%,
15% response. I'm sorry, you're talking about the responses on your direct mail campaign.
Yeah, responses on the direct mail piece. Like let's say an average of 10% response rate, 8 to 10% response rate. Basically, that means that we don't have to send out 10 or 20,000 pieces or 50,000 pieces a month. We can send out 1,000 pieces, and we get 100 phone calls, and we'll make 100 offers that month. And out of those 100 offers,
that's interesting.
That's really interesting.
And out of those 100 offers, on average, you get about 3 to 4 deals accepted. So now between 2 and 4 deals accepted. So now with 1,000 letters that cost $600, you have 2 to 4 deals. Let's just say on the low side, 2 deals on average that make you the same $10,000 that typically a wholesaler makes on the deal. On the low end, like 3 to 5,000. On the high end, 50,000. So let's say just on the lower end, 5 to 15. Let's say $10,000. So you spend $600 and you're making $20,000. I mean, that's on the low end, $10,000. That's a pretty no-brainer strategy to me, and that's how we were able to go so quickly from 0 to $1 million. Yeah, that's why we have students right now.
Yeah, Jack, where do you reside?
We live in Phoenix, Arizona.
And then, then my next question is, are you doing deals in your backyard, or are you guys marketing in random markets across the country?
So when we started, we thought we had to go see the property. So every weekend we would jump in the car while we still had a job and would drive out there, northern Arizona, southern Arizona, look at properties, because we like 3 kinds of markets. We like infill lots. We like the path of growth, so just the ring around the city where the city is expanding towards, and we like larger acreage in rural areas. So something when we ask where somebody could have a ranch or could have put their RVs on there, bring their friends, have bonfires, cabins, hunting, RVing, as I mentioned already, ATVing, bow hunting, shooting, stuff like that. The people who love those kind of properties. And
I'd imagine properties that have like beachfront or river access would be high.
River access, yes. Beachfront, not so much. Those are usually much more expensive. Right. One of our students got a property with beachfront access or with access to lakefront access to Lake Michigan. That was worth up to $1 million, and he got that thing. That's like one of these treasure cases that don't happen that often. But he got it for $3,500. But that's like a true exception. Right. But the riverfront access, you do get them. So we send what I was saying. So I forgot the question, but basically send out those letters. You get the response rate, and then you go. Those are the kind of properties we get. At the beginning about the region, you said the beginning we felt like having to go out there, and then we got a deal of 21 properties for $3,000. It was actually 25 properties, but they owed a bunch of back taxes, and 4 had been lost for back taxes already. So we got 21 of them. And for $3,000, they had an additional $10,000 in back taxes. So we sold 2 of them for $10,000, paid off the back taxes, and now we had 19 properties free and clear. The problem was, we thought it was a problem. The problem was they were from Hawaii to Florida in like 7 different states. So that's when we realized, what do we do now? So I jumped on a plane and flew to Florida, looked at a few. But I didn't go to Indiana, I didn't go to Colorado, I didn't go to California, I didn't go to Utah, where all these other properties were. Which is like, we can't afford time and money-wise to fly everywhere there because we're very much at the beginning. So we're like, let's just see if we can sell them without seeing them. So we took pictures on Google Earth and Google Maps and created listings like that, and they sold just as fast. So since then, we realized there's no need for us to go look at any of the properties. And since then, we have done deals in 19 states, in over 100 counties, and majority of them without ever seeing them.
That's amazing.
That is amazing. So, Jack, how do you market them?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So how are you finding the buyers for these properties?
Right. So that's the other thing. Early on, we started out, remember, we started that like 17 years ago. And back then, people still had dial-up telephone internet lines. You literally had like AOL, like boom, you got mail was still a thing. I don't know, you guys are too young to even remember that.
Oh, we used AOL, man. Yeah. We were younger, but we used them.
Okay, good. So you guys, but so the thing is, at that point, we used to put it on eBay. We used to put it on the newspaper. People would call up, and we would have to put a little paper package in the mail to them because they didn't even have internet yet, and then they would buy it that way. Then we started doing live auctions. And then in 2008-9, as the market shifted, and we realized that we could continue doing deals, but we could continue doing deals online. At that time, everyone had high-speed internet access. Zillow was around, started being around. Facebook was around. Craigslist was around. So we started selling these properties on Craigslist. We started selling them on all these platforms, and we have continued doing that to this day. And we have students that do several hundred deals now that way. We do 100 deals a year like that. And it's our method now that we just go flip them and put them on Facebook Marketplace, on Craigslist, on Zillow, on Redfin, or on our contract that we have with our sellers, we have the right to remarket the property. So with that, you can even use like an MLS service and put them out there on the MLS that then spreads it around the other platforms. So we sell them online again from the comfort of your home.
Love it, very man. Cool. Very, very cool. Very cool. Tell us a little bit about what makes this more lucrative versus flipping houses in your opinion? Because I'm sure there's lots of different reasons, but like, what's your favorite reason? Is it just? Well,
I don't think it's more lucrative than flipping houses. It's as lucrative as flipping houses. Mm-hmm. It just has less moving pieces in it. Mm-hmm. Right? So that's really the thing. There's nothing wrong with flipping houses. I flipped some houses. Right? In the market, when the market came back up, it's like, hey, we've been missing out on this house stuff. Let's flip land and flip houses. Mm-hmm. So we flipped a bunch of houses, and then we realized it's really more work that we personally want to do. I know there's nothing wrong with it. We made money with it. But 2016, we stopped flipping houses again, and we refocused just on our land flipping because it worked in an up market, down market, sideways market, and again in a returning market. So to answer your question, the real reason is that, first of all, you can do it virtually. We don't have to show it. We don't have to ever go meet with a seller even on the kitchen table and make them cry or make them, I don't know what house flippers do. We got ours different ways, but
right. We don't have to make them cry. Again, that's a very good tip. Try not to make them cry, guys. That's not our objective.
Absolutely not. I know you guys don't do that. Yeah. There's some people that say like, oh yeah, the more you make them cry, the better. And it's like, no, that's not what you want to do.
Good strategy.
We try to make friends.
Right? Try to make it win-win.
Solve problems.
Right.
Exactly. Solve their problem is the thing. And we're solving somebody's problem. So one of the biggest benefits is that we can do this all remotely. We send letters. We have a call center take the phone calls. We sent the letters, we sent the offers in writing because there's no rush. There's almost no competition in this market. How many land flippers do you know?
Zero.
Right? Yeah, Zero. How many house flippers do you know? A whole bunch, right?
Right.
So there's almost no competition. That means we don't have to rush the purchase. We literally sent the seller an offer in snail mail and give him 7 to 10 days to accept that offer. Because are they going to get another offer from anyone else? No, they haven't gotten an offer for 20 years.
Yeah, I love that. Now, what happens so like we do something similar, obviously. Other times we'll send an offer to somebody and it may have a 60 or 90-day acceptance period. Why are you limiting the acceptance period? Just to entice them to act?
Just to entice them to act, yes. Okay. And if they don't get one, we set aside an offer a few weeks later.
Yeah, let's say somebody signs it 90 days later and sends it back. I mean, you're just going to amend it, right?
You're still going to amend it. We're still going to accept it, of course. And that happens, yeah. It's more like making them accept it. And then we do sometimes follow up with a voicemail. So like, hey, we send you an offer. You haven't accepted it. Call us. And then sometimes they're like, oh, I thought I had expired. I thought you were no longer interested. No, we're interested. Just sign it. Send it over. Yeah. So cross out the date, put a date. We'll initial it too, and then accept it. That does happen. And but we're doing that. And then the other reason, the biggest reason I think is that, especially for beginning investors, is they're a little bit afraid. And I'm referring to myself when I started out. We had no money. We tried to make houses work. We just couldn't make it work for us. And we were afraid of what happens if we're locked into a contract for $70,000 or $150,000 house, and I don't have that kind of money. Well, when we made our first offer on a land piece that was accepted, it was a guy that was moving out of state. He didn't care. He went through divorce. He didn't want to have anything to do with the state of Arizona anymore. And he had this piece of land sitting in there that he literally says, you guys can have it. So we offered him $400 for it, and he accepted it. Now, $400 is something that I think, even with no money, I could afford. Right. I was like, okay, I can afford. Worst case, I lose $400. I'm not going to lose $400 because the thing is worth $10,000. Somebody's going to offer me $1,000 for it, right?
Right.
then the neighbor right on the spot bought this property for $4,000. So my point is, so we made 10 times our money. It wasn't like, didn't like make us wealthy, but it changed our lives. The point is that when you make $1,000, $2,000, or sometimes $57 offers, it's much more comfortable to the beginning investor because you know that you're not risking your life savings on it.
And that's a very good point, because the cheapest houses that Mike and I will buy to keep are 20 or 30 grand. Now we'll buy houses for 500, 1,000, 1,500, but those are ones that are strictly wholesales. So right. I love that philosophy, you know, and I'd imagine you're probably, so let me ask you this, because I've interviewed and talked to a couple people that have done what you do.
Okay.
However, none of them have been doing it as long as you. So you're definitely by far the most experienced person that I've ever spoken to in this trade. But I've heard from a lot of these other guys that they don't even put a closing date on these contracts. Does yours have a closing date?
Ours does have a closing date, but its closing date is usually 6 months out.
Love it. So basically, similar.
Yeah. So, and why 6 months? It's because sometimes title issues occur, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to get a thing to probate, and you don't want to have to get an extension. Sometimes also you might get yourself overwhelmed with deals. Like we have guys that are in our program, in our coaching program, that, for example, they have in the first 3 months they gotten 24 deals accepted. So it's like, holy cow, they don't even have the bandwidth right now to go market them all, right? So they market the first 3 or 4, sell them, then they market the other 3 or 4, sell them. And so there's some that they don't even have the time to go put the listing up because they still have jobs right now. They don't have the time to listing up. So 6 months gives them enough time to basically let the property sit there, focus on the other ones. And then in month 4, they're finally like, okay, now let me go market it. And they go sell it. Wow. And so on.
Yeah, that is really, really, really cool, man. Really cool. Hey, tell us a little bit about how the average person that's interested in maybe a career change could benefit from your instruction. Tell us a little bit about what kind of program you have in terms of coaching or mentoring.
Sure. So we very simply 10 years ago, 11 years ago, when the market crashed, we always said like, oh my God, this is just something, we're the only people in the world doing this. There's like, not the only people in the world, but you know what I mean, compared to the amount of people doing the house flipping. So it's like, there's nobody doing that. At some point of time, we got to teach that to people. And when 2008 and 9 came along, and I saw people losing their shirts left and right in the real estate market, and our method continued working, we're like, you know what? I think now is the time. It was probably the worst timing ever to go out in the market and start teaching this because nobody wanted to know anything about real estate. But we felt the need to almost go out there and say like, hello, here is a method that's completely different that works in this market. And a bunch of people understood that, and they started taking on. The way we did that is we created a home study course that we now redid a couple of years ago, and we keep updating. It used to be CDs and DVDs. They're pretty much outdated. 2 years ago, we created it as an online course with videos, and now we have the ability, if something changes, to immediately create a new module, retire a module, update a module. So it's a growing and living and changing course. Like, for example, just the other day, I added a new assignment agreement that allows people to do an assignment without actually disclosing what they're making in the process. Right? So I'm sure you guys used something like that already. I hadn't, so it's like, oh my God, our people need to know about this. So we added that into it. And so it's a course that basically shows you exactly in detail how to find these properties. The first 3 modules are all about how to find areas where properties sell quickly. Because in all reality, there are areas where properties just don't sell very quickly. Now, there's worthless property in this country. And there's properties that you can buy for $10. But then you go, sell them for $200? That's not what we're doing, right? So we want to make sure, and there's a couple of guys that teach kind of these bottom feeder techniques, but we are not. We have guys that focus on $1 million properties that they put on a contract for $600,000 and then wholesale them for $700,000, right? So, but our sweet point is between 10 and 100. So we teach you how to show you exactly how to find these properties, how to find the areas, how to identify the areas that sell quickly, how to get the list of them, how to contact the owners, how to get those deals accepted. And then on the selling side, how to list them on the different platforms. And the key part of that is how to create a listing that stands head and shoulders above everyone else. and also how some alternative marketing strategies to sell these properties much quicker to people that we can kind of know already are interested in those markets. So it's a complete set. There's nothing missing. It's a complete buying and selling course on the land flipping that we do. And then on top of that, so that's something everyone can get and start right away. And then
how would somebody find you, Mark? Or I'm sorry, not Mark, Jack. I got somebody else in my mind. A seller I just talked to here a minute ago. Yeah. Jack, how would somebody go about connecting with you? Do you have a website that you can send people to?
Absolutely. We have a website. It's called landprofitgenerator.com and landprofitgenerator.com, where there's videos and things like that. And then there we also have a Facebook group that's also called Land Profit Generator Real Estate Investing. And then obviously I have a podcast called Forever Cash, like the name of the book, Forever Cash Real Estate Forever Cash Life Real Estate Investing, because it's about creating, at the end of the day, it's about creating a life of pure and true financial independence, so you can do what you really love in life. And for that, again, as I said earlier, you need to have a cash machine. If you're in a job that pays $30,000, $40,000, you don't have enough traction financially to get to the goal line of financial independence. You got to increase something. So if somebody's a beginning investor, to go back to your question, the way to do this is to add this on the side, because it's land, it does have less moving pieces. You can add it on the side. And then once it generated enough income, once it generated enough cash flow, you then quit your job. One of our students, Warren, he just literally did that. He gave his resignation last week because his income from land deals is now higher than his income from his job.
Man, I love that. Man, Jack, that's really, really cool, man. So, Jack, tell us a little bit about the book, Lifetime Cash Flow. Forever Cash Flow.
Forever Cash, yes.
And how it will help you create lifetime cash flow.
Well, the Forever Cash book is really a book about our financial philosophy, which is that there's three kinds of cash. So 3 kinds of cash. Most people work for what we call one-time cash. One-time cash is basically you work for it one time and you get paid one time. So we made up this language and these words in our family because my wife and I are both from different countries. I'm from Germany, she's from Honduras, Central America. And so we make up words sometimes. We create new English words. And one-time cash is basically you work for it once and you get paid once. A job is that. You work 40 hours, you get paid hourly. Even if you're a salary, you get paid for work at a certain time, and that's it. You don't show up for work for a week, you're fired, right? So also flips are one-time cash. They're just much higher quality one-time cash. So there's nothing wrong with one-time cash. It's just you want to get to a high quality one-time cash so that that if you do something, you get paid a lot for it, so that you have some of that over you can get out of debt and you can move some over to the sidelines, so that once what you move over to the sidelines is big enough, you then invest in additional cash flow kind of assets. And the second kind of cash is temporary cash. So when we do our seller financing deals, they are temporary cash. You pay for it, you work for it once, but you get paid again and again and again and again long term, but they do end. So they're great stabilizer. They're a great vehicle to quit your job on. They're a great vehicle to be able to go take care of a sick family member for half a year and then come back because you get paid for a long time. But you still got to convert it into, eventually you got to convert your cash flow into the third kind of cash flow, which is what we call forever cash. And forever cash is lifetime generational cash flow. And that's really what we do. We generate with land flipping, we generate one-time cash when we do wholesale flips. Buy something for $1,000, sell it for $10, make $9,000, move on. Buy something for $10, sell it for $30, make $20,000, move on, right? That's also the temporary cash is cash flow. That cash flow comes in and moves all of it, if possible, moves on to the sidelines. And then the combination of those two, we reinvest into rental houses and apartment complexes because that provides generational cash flow. And that book basically takes out the strategy on how you do that, and how, in my opinion, really anyone in any life situation right now within 5 to 7 years can get to financial independence by following those steps.
Woo!
Yeah, that's cool.
That's awesome.
That's the whole plan.
Jack, that is very cool. I like
whole plan.
I like how you're using your flips and your owner financing deals to put that money on the sideline, but then you're taking that and you're investing those into longer term properties that are going to be spitting off that cash flow for the long term. And I love how you phrase it, one-time cash, temporary cash, and then lifetime cash. Do you talk about that, about those three different approaches in your book?
Yes, this is exactly what the book is about. It's my wife and my story of how we created that, how we came up with that. And this is an age-old, by the way, wealth creating strategy. We didn't come up with that. The European aristocracy has done that forever. They take money that they made. They're the landlords, right? They own the land. They rent out the land. The land is being processed. They get a fee for that. They have rental houses. They take that, and what do they do with it? They buy more land. They buy more real estate. They buy more things. And for generations, for centuries, that's how they have been able to maintain a lifestyle in their freaking castles by implementing that lifestyle. The thing is, they just don't teach it. They just don't teach it. They don't tell anyone that. We have to figure this out ourselves, because it's not being taught anywhere. The rich keep that to themselves, and we basically now we teach it in order to make an impact on this world.
Jack, I love the cover of your book. I actually just bought a copy of it right now. I'm excited to check this thing out, man. You have a lot of knowledge to share with people. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to have had a chance to interview you. And you have shared some really, really cool stuff with our viewers and our listeners. So guys, if you are more interested in learning about Jack and Jack's mentoring program and how to flip pieces of land, and it sounds to me like Jack is very, very, very passionate about this. So he has a ton of information to share with you guys. Check out his book. It's called Forever Cash. You can buy it on Amazon. I just bought a copy of it because I'm super excited. And then if you're interested to learn more about Jack as well, check out his website. It's landprofitgenerator.com, right, Jack? Am I saying that right?
Landprofitgenerator.com is the way to get into it and see some free videos and some free trainings on how this all works. And then again, the Facebook group is Land Profit Generator. And actually another way to get the book too, because it's actually officially sold out on Amazon. You have to buy it to the secondary market, is to go to forevercashbook.net. Forevercashbook.net. You can buy the book there for a few bucks because we still have a few sitting here. Other than that, it's sold out on kind of the open Amazon market.
Now, how come it's sold out? Are you using KDP?
No, we had it published with an actually proper publisher, but then we kind of didn't like what they were doing, and we canceled our publication, so they wouldn't allow us to publish it on Amazon anymore. We literally would have to create a secondary listing for Evercash. And what I really need to do is I need to write for Evercash 2.0. So that with some additional pieces in there, and then come out with it, and then it'll be available. And I just haven't gotten around to do that yet. So you can buy it on the secondary market of Amazon, or you can go to forevercashbook.net and get it there directly from us.
Awesome. Forevercashbook.net. Just want to make sure that we got that right. Jack, it has been an absolute pleasure. I got a book coming in the mail. I'm going to check out some of your stuff online. I'm eager to learn more. I'm sure all of our listeners and viewers are also chomping at the bit to learn more. I mean, you're talking about being able to buy properties that you're not going to see for 15-ish cents on the dollar, and the ability to wholesale these either via double close or assignment, just like we've taught you in the previous 70 episodes, guys, about houses. This is the exact same approach. However, it seems like it's easier because there's less things to calculate, meaning there's no repair estimates typically. And not only that, but the response rates seem to be about 10 to 20 times what we're getting on our traditional direct mail. I mean, we're lucky to get 2%, maybe 3% best case. I mean, it's probably averaging about 1%. And that's okay because it still works. There's still a profit. Yeah. There's still a profit for that on us. But if you're getting your response rates, up at 10 or 15% versus 1 or 2, that means that the cost to get involved. The barriers to entry are a lot less. And then Jack also mentioned a very good point earlier too about the barriers to entry on, like, making offers and being comfortable, or actually just closing on a property without a buyer lined up. If you're only coming out of pocket a couple $100 or even a couple $1,000, that's okay. That makes it much easier. Again, barriers to entry are less to be able to get into these deals. Whereas, a piece of real estate with a home on it, even one that is distressed, could cost, very easily 60, 80, 100 grand. And that could be in the low end neighborhood too. So lots and lots of advantages with this. Jack, thank you, man. This has been an awesome podcast. I know I've learned a ton. Mike, you've got to have a question or two to end us out here, right?
No, I love it. I think we've summarized pretty well. Jack, if there's anything else you want to add,
anything else that you want to share, please, by all means. And again, thank you so much for allowing us an hour of your time today, man. I can tell you right now, I've already learned a ton.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for having me. The only thing I would add is that if, for any beginning investor out there, just make sure you look around. What made this work for us was that we didn't know anything about real estate when we started. So we didn't know how to estimate the repair of a kitchen or a bathroom or a roof or a foundation or any of these things. So, and to the degree I have a better idea now, because we have obviously rental properties and repairs are coming our way all the time. But what made it work for us is that with land flipping, we literally didn't have to know anything, because by buying it for 5, 10, 15, 20 cents on the dollar, there's so much margin of safety in there that even if we go wrong with something, we still would be able to make money on it. So just this might be attractive for for others. You want to tangibly see those houses be built and those houses be rehabbed and have that enjoyment of driving by and saying, like, I fixed this one up and I bought this one and I made this better. And that's absolutely beautiful. So everyone needs to find what they truly love. But the point is, pick something that you can handle. Like, everyone is at a different comfort level and a different confidence level. So whatever your confidence level is, that's what you want to get into, so that you actually have a true shot at succeeding in this. Right?
Man, Jack, you nailed it. And
then once you're succeeding at it, your confidence level and your capabilities are going to go up, and then you tackle higher, more complicated things. If, like, 16 years ago, somebody would have come with me with a $7 million apartment complex, I would have run the other way, because I would have not understood the first thing about even entertaining the complexity and even knowing what to start in that thing. Now we own them, because over the last bunch of years, we've built up our capabilities and our confidence. So it doesn't have to be an end game what you start with, but it's got to be a starter where you can wrap your arms around it and make things work.
Right. Jack, I got one more quick question, and we didn't really cover it, and I'm sure there's lots of strategies, but just what is the easiest way for somebody that might be starting out to determine what a piece of land is worth? Because when you say I'm going to buy it at 15 cents on the dollar, that's great and all, but how do I know the property is worth 60 grand? How do I know?
In our program, in our program, we teach 5 ways. The easiest 2 are, number 1, assessed value. In almost every state, except for California, where they have Proposition 13 that locks down the assessed value at a certain level, well, in all other states, the assessed value is in a clear relationship to market value. So, for example, in Arizona, where I am, in a stable market, which is where we are in most of the country, the assessed value is about 2/3 of market value. In Arkansas, that relationship is 20%. 20%. So if a property is worth 100 grand, it's assessed at 20. In Florida, it's at 80 to 90% of market value. In Colorado, it's at 90% or so, or 100% of market value. So all you need to do is figure out what is that ratio by calling the assessor in the county one time and saying, like, hey, I see these properties assessed at $50,000. How do you come up with that? What's that relation to market value? They'll tell you, and you have one guidance point. You can't rely on it, but it's a guidance point. And the second one is the same that you guys use, comparables. We don't want to buy deals in areas where there's nothing going on, where nobody's selling any properties. If you see no sales for the last 2-3 years, you don't want to be the first. You don't want to sell something here because nobody's selling, right? If you see a bunch of listed property and no sales, that's a bad sign, right? So therefore, you only want to do deals in areas where there are some sales. So you have comparables, just like with houses. So you see your properties, you see 500 properties that have sold in the last year for $50,000 or $45,000 to $55,000. You got your value. So it's the same exact ways that you do that in the housing world. And then there's a few more that we share in our course.
Wow.
Very cool.
That's super
Very cool, man.
Again, Jack, I am ultra grateful for your time today. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing a wealth of knowledge, truly a ton of value that you've shared with us today. So again, thank you so much. Guys, don't forget to check out Jack. There's lots of ways. He's got a Facebook group called Land Profit Generator. You can go to landprofitgenerator.com to learn more about his mentoring program. And then, of course, he has a book called Forever Cash. And you can get that one more time, Jack. What's the link? ForeverCashBook.net. Man, I'm excited. I can't wait to learn more about this. Like I said, I just bought the book. Mike, you want to close us out here, bud?
Discount Property Investors, thank you so much for listening. If you haven't yet, check out the free wholesale course. And Jack, again, we'll say thank you very much for joining us today. Appreciate it. Thanks for listening, guys.
Until next time, guys. Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Welcome back to Season 2 of the Discount Property Investor Podcast. Our mission is to share with you what we have learned from our experience and the experience of others to help you make more money investing like a pro. We want to teach you how to create wealth by investing in real estate the Discount Property Investor way. Make sure you never miss an episode and download the Discount Property Investor app in Google Play or iTunes today. To jumpstart your real estate investing career, visit freewholesalecourse.com, the most complete free course on wholesaling real estate ever. Thanks for tuning in.